Welcome to Networks Professionals.
So you want to master enterprise cloud operations, really level up your career and conquer one of the absolute most prestigious cloud credentials out there today? Well, if you've been searching for that specific edge, something that really proves you can handle massive real-world cloud environments, you are exactly in the right place.
Welcome to today's explainer. I am so incredibly pumped to guide you through this one. Today, we're basically embarking on what I like to call a quest for mastery. We're totally demystifying the AWS Certified DevOps Engineer, professional. Most of us just call it the DOP-C02. For IT pros out there looking to aggressively boost their earning potential and step into those heavyweight senior roles, this explainer is your ultimate roadmap.
Okay, here's our map for the quest today. We've got 1. What is the DOP-C02? 2. Why earn this certification? 3. Inside the professional exam. 4. Essential skills and services. And finally, number 5, your roadmap to success. Let's take this intimidating 5-star difficulty topic and break it down into a totally achievable plan. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, what exactly is the DOP-C02? Before you start climbing a mountain, you really need to know what kind of terrain you're dealing with, right? Let's dive into this comparison. Look, if you've taken an associate-level exam, you know the drill. It focuses heavily on AWS fundamentals. What the services are, how they kind of fit together. But this professional level? Yeah, it's an entirely different beast. It focuses on real-world enterprise DevOps practices. We're talking about deep automation, complex incident response, governance, the whole shebang. This cert proves you don't just know what the tools are, but that you can actually deploy and manage massive production workloads without breaking a sweat. And this brings up one of the massive pillars of the exam that you absolutely, without a doubt, must master. Infrastructure as Code, or IAC. Listen, this is not about just clicking around the AWS Management Console anymore. It's about managing your entire AWS infrastructure using code templates. You're going to need to know tools like CloudFormation inside and out, and I mean the complex stuff like nested stacks and stack sets, as well as the AWS Cloud Development Kit, or CDK. You basically have to treat your infrastructure exactly like you treat your application code. It's a real mindset shift. Which naturally leads us to our next vital concept, CI/CD pipelines. Continuous integration and continuous deployment is literally the heartbeat of DevOps. This exam is going to rigorously test your ability to automate release cycles, everything from testing and build stages to those absolutely crucial rollback workflows. Because think about it, it's one thing to deploy code automatically. It's another thing entirely to design a system that automatically detects a failure and safely rolls back a deployment without dropping a single ounce of user traffic. That's the professional mindset you need here.
Moving right along to Section 2, why earn this certification? Or as I like to call it, the call to adventure. Why should you dedicate months of your life to passing this specific exam?
Well, the data here speaks volumes. The global reward is massive. Whether you're looking at salaries up to $180,000 in the US and Australia or incredibly competitive packages in Canada, the UK, Germany, India, and Pakistan, these numbers reflect a high-stakes reality. Organizations out there are frankly desperate for professionals who can safely manage their cloud-native transformations. Earning this certification aggressively increases your salary potential, plain and simple. But, it's not just about the money. Let's talk about global recognition. The employers actively hunting for this credential range from Fortune 500 companies and elite cloud consulting firms to massive banks, healthcare orgs, and government agencies. By passing this exam, you essentially make yourself a prime target for recruitment by the biggest global enterprise employers across every major industry. They know exactly how hard this certification is to achieve, so having it on your resume, it instantly builds immense trust.
And the roles you can step into? They're the ones driving modern tech forward. We're talking about heavy-hitting titles like DevOps Engineer, Site Reliability Engineer, Cloud Architect, and Platform Engineer. This certification acts as a literal golden ticket to these elite, senior-level roles. If you want a seat at the table where the big architectural decisions are made, well, this is exactly how you get it.
Okay, let's shift gears to Section 3, inside the professional exam. It's time to take a very objective look at the reality of the trial you're about to face.
First up, the cost. $300 US. Now, I point this out not to scare you, but just to remind you that this is a serious professional investment. You really don't want to take this exam just to see how it goes, right? You want to walk in there completely prepared to protect that $300 investment.
Next up is the time limit, 180 minutes. That's 3 hours of intense, unbroken concentration. You'll be navigating 75 multiple choice and multiple response questions, and honestly, this requires not just technical knowledge, but serious mental stamina. It's a grueling duration, so managing your time effectively in there is going to be absolutely critical. So, the most crucial point here is understanding the reality of this exam. It's rated at a 5-star advanced difficulty. Why? Because you aren't just memorizing facts. No way. You are dealing with lengthy, complex, scenario-based questions that require real practical decision-making. Basically, AWS will present you with a completely broken deployment process and ask you for the most cost-effective and secure way to fix it. And while AWS doesn't publish an exact fixed passing mark, the scale runs from 100 to 1,000, and you really need to aim for approximately a 750 scaled score to pass. You've got to think critically through these scenarios.
All right, transitioning now to Section 4. Essential skills and services. Let's take the vast AWS ecosystem and chunk it down into the specific technical terrain you actually need to conquer.
First, we have the developer toolset. These services are your bread and butter for release automation. You absolutely must understand how code commit stores the code, how code build compiles and tests it, how code deploy pushes it to your servers, and how code pipeline seamlessly orchestrates that entire flow. Oh, and you also need to know how Systems Manager plays into configuration management. Honestly, if you don't dream in CI/CD by the end of your studies, you probably aren't ready yet. Let's see how this builds into the actual environments you're deploying to. You won't just be dealing with traditional EC2 virtual machines. You've got to prove your mettle with containerized deployments using ECS, EKS, and Fargate. On top of that, you need to deeply understand serverless architectures, event-driven applications using Lambda and API Gateway. The exam fully expects you to know how to deploy and roll back safely across all of these different compute layers.
And remember, an enterprise environment isn't just about pushing code fast. It's about keeping it secure, compliant, and continuously monitored. So services like CloudWatch, CloudTrail, EventBridge, IAM, KMS, and GuardDuty, they're non-negotiable. You've got to know how to automate security, how to set up automated recovery using EventBridge, and how to track every single API call across your account. Because if something goes wrong, you're expected to know the automated way to find it and fix it immediately. Which brings us to our final stop, Section 5, your roadmap to success. Let's empower you with the exact map you need to navigate this quest.
First things first, setting realistic expectations is how you avoid burnout. If you're already an experienced DevOps engineer handling production workloads every day, you might just need, say, 6 to 8 weeks to polish up on specific AWS quirks. If you're an intermediate AWS user, maybe you already have an associate cert, budget around 3 to 4 months. And hey, if you're a beginner, that is completely fine. Just give yourself 5 to 7 months of structured study. The key here is don't rush the process. To make it even simpler, we've synthesized the source material's 12-step path into these 4 critical macro phases. Phase 1 is your foundation, Linux, networking, and core AWS. Phase 2 gets you up to speed on the everyday tools of the trade, Git, Docker, and Kubernetes. Phase 3, that's the core exam material, infrastructure as code, CI/CD, and security. But Phase 4 is where you actually win the battle. Hands-on projects and practice exams are completely non-negotiable. Seriously, you cannot pass this exam just by reading. You have to get your hands dirty, build real pipelines, and actually break them just to see how they fail.
So we arrive at the end of our explainer with one final question for you. Are you ready to build your cloud legacy? The AWS Certified DevOps Engineer Professional is incredibly difficult, sure, but the rewards are literally life-changing. It proves you have exactly what it takes to operate at the absolute highest level of enterprise cloud computing. The roadmap is right here in front of you.
Thanks for watching.